Gone but not forgotten. If it feels like the Grim Reaper has been unusually busy lately, you're not imagining it. Across daytime soaps and primetime dramas alike, characters have been dropping at a steady and sometimes shocking rate. From The Young and the Restless to General Hospital and beyond, 2025 to 2026 has been packed with exits that ranged from heartbreaking to downright brutal. Some deaths were heroic, others were tragic, and a few, let's just say soap logic was working overtime. Here's a closer look at the characters we've said goodbye to and how their stories came to an end. Marco Rios, General Hospital. Marco's death hit hard, mostly because it came from a place of doing the right thing. Trying to help Britt Westbourne escape danger, he crossed the wrong man. Ross Cullum made sure Marco paid the price, stabbing him and leaving him to die. It was a cruel end for someone who simply tried to help. Monica Dutton, Yellowstone. Monica had already survived more than most characters ever do. Accidents, violence, constant danger. But in the end, it wasn't any of those things that took her. Cancer quietly claimed her life, revealed through a heartbreaking graveside moment that said everything without needing many words. Stefan DiMera, Days of Our Lives. With Stefan, things are unclear. His death was mentioned, not shown, and details were frustratingly vague. In soap terms, that usually raises one big question. Is he really gone? Or just waiting for a dramatic return? Luna Nozawa, The Bold and the Beautiful. Luna's story was chaotic, right up to the end. After a string of violent acts, she died while trying to escape, hit by a car in a last-ditch attempt to get away. But considering her history, fans aren't exactly convinced this is the final chapter. Professor Henry Dalton, General Hospital, played by Daniel Goddard. Dalton's run was short but memorable. Once he became a liability, there was no saving him. Jen Sidwell eliminated him without hesitation, a cold, calculated move that fit the storyline perfectly. Dr. Monica Beltran, Grey's Anatomy. Her final moments were classic Grey's Anatomy, intense, emotional, and selfless. Even while trapped and fatally injured, she kept working, guiding a surgery that saved someone else. It was a powerful exit for a character defined by her dedication. Monica Quartermain, General Hospital. This one carried real emotional weight. Monica's death wasn't sudden, but that didn't make it easier. After declining health kept her out of sight, she passed quietly, leaving behind a legacy that shaped generations in Port Charles. Ronan Malloy, The Young and the Restless. Ronan's fate was one of the strangest. His death was revealed almost casually, with little explanation. It felt less like a storyline and more like a forgotten thread being tied off. Chance Chancellor, The Young and the Restless. Chance died doing his job, investigating a dangerous situation that quickly spiraled out of control. He became collateral damage in someone else's plan. A reminder that even the good guys aren't safe. Damian Kane, The Young and the Restless. His death was as dramatic as it gets, poisoned and stabbed in the same sequence of events. It was shocking, sudden, and a turning point for several characters tied to him. Cole Howard, The Young and the Restless. Cole's passing was quieter but no less emotional. After reconnecting with his family and finding some peace, he succumbed to illness, giving the story a bittersweet sense of closure. John Black, Days of Our Lives, a true hero to the end. John died trying to save a friend, staying consistent with a character fans had known for decades. It was a fitting, if heartbreaking, goodbye. Captain Bobby Nash, 911. Bobby's death was pure sacrifice. Faced with an impossible situation, he chose to save someone else instead of himself. It was emotional, impactful, and very much in line with who he was. Cyrus Renault, General Hospital. Cyrus went out the way many villains do, pushing things too far. After confessing his crimes and escalating the situation, he met his end in a violent confrontation that felt inevitable. Crazy Aunt Jordan, The Young and the Restless. Her story ended in a way that matched her instability. With no way out, she took control of her own fate, bringing a chaotic chapter to a close. Dex Heller, General Hospital Dex's death came out of nowhere. Just when it seemed like he was recovering, everything changed in an instant. That sudden loss made it even more devastating. John Dutton, Yellowstone. A major figure brought down not by weakness, but by betrayal and power plays. His death reshaped the entire landscape of the show. Sam McCall, General Hospital Sam's passing was especially shocking because it came right after what should have been a life-saving moment. It was sudden, unexpected, and deeply emotional for longtime fans. Heather Williams, The Young and the Restless. Caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, Heather's death unfolded during a tense confrontation that quickly turned deadly. Spencer Cassadine and Esme Prince, General Hospital. Their joint fall into the Seine was dramatic, even by soap standards. Whether it's truly the end for both remains a question, but for now, their story closed in unforgettable fashion. Bobby Spencer, General Hospital Bobby's death was handled with care and respect. A beloved character, she passed peacefully, leaving behind a legacy that defined an era of the show. Natalia Ramirez, General Hospital Natalia's ending was tragic in a very human way. Heartbroken and feeling like she had nothing left, she made a devastating choice. Her death wasn't about action or revenge, it was about despair, and that made it hit differently. Colin Atkinson, The Young and the Restless. Colin's death happened off screen, but it still carried weight. Known for his scheming ways, he didn't go out in some dramatic con. Instead, illness took him, though not before he made peace with his son. It was a quieter, more reflective end than fans might have expected. Deputy Chief Charlie Reed, Chicago PD. Reed's death was all about power and revenge. Hank Voight didn't pull the trigger himself, but he set the wheels in motion. It was a calculated move that showed just how far things had gone. Alan Laurent, The Young and the Restless. This one came with a twist. For months, viewers believed one twin was dead, only to find out it was actually the other. Classic soap storytelling, confusing, dramatic, and just a little over the top. Kenny Chustuk, Beyond the Gates. Kenny's death unfolded behind the scenes, revealed through clues rather than shown directly. It added a layer of mystery, but also left viewers piecing things together after the fact. Carter, The Young and the Restless. After causing chaos and multiple deaths, Carter reached a breaking point. Instead of facing consequences, he chose to end his own life. It was a dark and abrupt conclusion to a dangerous storyline. Jamie Dutton, Yellowstone. Jamie's death was brutal and deeply personal. It wasn't just about power. It was about family, betrayal, and long-standing resentment finally boiling over. Colby Mayfield, Yellowstone. Colby died a hero. In a split-second decision, he tried to save someone else and paid the ultimate price. It was one of those moments that felt raw and real. Sarah Atwood, Yellowstone. Sarah thought she was in control until she wasn't. Once she became a liability, she was taken out just as quickly as she had manipulated others. A classic case of the game turning on the player. Gregory Chase, General Hospital Gregory's final chapter was emotional in a quieter way. He got to see an important milestone in his son's life before passing peacefully. It was a gentle goodbye compared to many others on this list. Konstantin Meliunis, Days of Our Lives. Konstantin's downfall came fast. Once exposed, there was no escape, and his story ended with a bullet. It was swift, dramatic, and very much in line with the show's style. Tom Starr, The Bold and the Beautiful. Tom's death tied directly into Luna's storyline, showing just how far things had spiraled. It was another example of collateral damage in a much bigger mess. Everett Lynch, Days of Our Lives. Everett became a target simply because he knew too much. In Salem, that's rarely a safe position to be in, and his death proved it once again. Noel / Noelle DeMira, Days of Our Lives. This wasn't a dramatic or violent loss, but it was heartbreaking in its own way. A pregnancy that was never meant to be ended in quiet grief for the characters involved. Hollis the Waiter, The Bold and the Beautiful. A smaller character, but his death still mattered. It showed how far Luna's actions reached, affecting even those on the edges of the story. Martin Laurent, The Young and the Restless. Another twin twist, another dramatic fall, literally. His death came during a confrontation that spiraled out of control, ending in a plunge that sealed his fate. Seth Morgan, The Young and the Restless. Seth made the mistake of confronting the wrong person at the wrong time. In true soap fashion, it ended with a sudden, violent accident that could have been avoided. John Jagger Cates, General Hospital. His death was cold and direct. No buildup, no hesitation. Just a brutal reminder of how dangerous certain characters can be. Irene/Adela, General Hospital. This loss came with emotional fallout rather than shock value. It wasn't just about the death itself, but what it meant for the people left behind. Doug Williams, Days of Our Lives. Doug's passing was peaceful and in many ways fitting. A beloved character, he went quietly surrounded by love, leaving behind decades of memories. Looking at all these exits together, one thing stands out. There's no single way for a character to leave a show. Some go out in explosions of drama, others fade away quietly. Some deaths feel earned and meaningful, while others feel rushed or purely designed to shock. But whether the storytelling worked or not, each of these characters played a role in shaping their shows. And in the world of soaps and long-running dramas, even death isn't always the end. That's what keeps fans watching, because you never really know who might come back next.